Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ask the Amigos section of, this thing that we
Eloquently
do.
put, Boat.
This is where we answer people's questions that pose them on Discord. Paul, aka Hermsky, asks, what is the strangest request or question that has been asked since the show started?
Strangest request, Boat. I don't recall any real wacky requests. Do you, right off the top of your head?
No, I
I think they've mostly been the strangest questions. Probably all that weird Tiger Show series stuff
Yeah.
that I don't know anything about. That was pretty weird. But I can't think. No one said like do a show in like a toga or anything like that. There's been no bizarre requests.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be some now, but I can't think of any.
I agree. Laurent asks, let's see. How far from one another do the various creatures which were visible on the Amigos shows at one point live from one another? AKA, where do you guys live, and how far away do you live from one another?
Wow, that was quite an opening. The translation from French was long. We are about 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah, 4 or 5 miles between Amigos Studios west and east.
As the crow flies, but it's a real simple. Basically,
it's not as the crow flies. It's as the car drives. It's shorter.
And we both live on either side of Hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go onto your Google contraption, if you look at Hurricane, West Virginia, if you go towards Huntington, that's where Boat's at, like right outside of town.
Right.
And if you go towards Charleston, that's where I'm at, right outside of town.
Right.
It's right. We're really it's the amount of distance from us to town is about the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And let's see. And he says, how often do you get to see one another? And this includes all the hosts and your friends, spouses, partners who join you for the special episodes. I would say we get to see each other often unless we're in the midst of a pandemic, in which case we never get to see each other. But we get together once a month for a computer club. That basically includes all the people that live around here that we care about. And then there's also, like, Brent has a board gaming group that at various points in the past we were also part of. With a different group, but there's a lot of mixing around. But I would say, once a month at least is when we get together, and oftentimes more than that.
Yeah, a boat. In fact, we often would go to our buddy Matt's house to hang out, to kick back, play some Rock Band, drink, and watch some Picard or whatever.
Fantasy Island. I want to see more.
Fantasy Island. That was great. So much fun. But unfortunately, and Boat, I'm desperate. I long for your presence, my friend. I miss you desperately. This pandemic sucks. I've not seen you or any of my other good buddies for a couple months now, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I can't wait till this is over.
Yeah.
And Brent, by the way, Curtis just said in the chat, Brent lives diagonally right across the street from me. I could easily throw a baseball from my yard to his, and I haven't seen him since I saw Boat. He's also been. That's the thing about this stupid pandemic. We can't. Even Brent has been isolated. So I will say that's the one good thing from the pandemic. I don't see Brent every week. But I do miss Brent because the technical baloney I've got to go through to get him on the screen is much more a pain in the butt than actually seeing him.
Lord Soup asks, given we mostly as Amiga fans can often take a dour view on Commodore's management and promotion of the format, is there another company or individual you would rather have taken the reins, maybe keeping the format relevant into the 90s and maybe beyond?
Well, boy, who would I have liked to run Commodore except for the idiots that ran it? Let's see. Who escaped the 80s, Boat?
Nobody.
Who did it? No, that's not true. That's not true. The PC escaped.
Well,
the Mac escaped, right?
Well, everybody except for Amiga escaped, basically.
No, that's not true. Atari didn't make it.
No, Atari definitely made it. The Jag, baby, they were alive and kicking in the 90s.
The Timex Sinclair, the TI, all those systems went away. Who would I want to run it? I guess, as much as I hate to say it, the people from Apple, I guess, would be the ones. Listen, the people at Apple have a knack for keeping their crap going. They're good at it. I have to give them credit. Listen, the Apple is as far away from the iPod and the iMac and all this other crap as it could be, but they kept it going. They kept it going. They kept their fan base in check, right? They kept them happy. Even through the down years, you were still there. and they kept them right up to now. They charge a ton of money for their extravagant boutique computers, but they still have fans. That's what I can see the Amiga needing to stay. And the Amiga could have done it. They could have been like Apple. And hear me out. If you had a visionary leader, right,
like Mindy
to
Ali.
run the show, yeah. I don't like Mac and I don't like Apple. You know that, but you've got to give the devil his due. Okay, the devil. Look, they fired the guy that made them, and they brought him back because they started tanking. This guy, God bless him, he knew what he was doing to a certain degree. He knew how to keep people happy. So I can see the Apple people having toted the Amiga. Of course, it'd be pointless for them to do that because they got the Apple. You see my point here. I'll tell you. I'll throw out a name here. The guys that run Lenovo would have been a good choice. I've always thought Lenovo was a good country. They picked up the remnants of the IBM PC business and moved it forward in a positive way. If an outfit like Lenovo could have invested in all the Amiga stuff, I think you could have had something. But it's going to be tough to tote that stuff forward. In a weird way, the Amiga is in a good place now. And I say that knowing what's going on. But I mean, listen, just the sheer fact that the Amiga is getting talked about, it's getting written about, people are buying them, there are people making stuff for them, the cons are bigger than they've ever been. I don't think you could have asked for much more than this, Boat, given when the Amiga was out and when it had its success. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Michael Dell. Because what is the secret of Dell? The secret of Dell is that you offer a mail order experience that allows you to customize your machine however you like. That is the genius of Dell. And if they could have offered, basically your variety of Amigas, from something as basic as a 68,000 bare bones gaming system all the way up to like an 060 or whatever in a tower format, but keeping the costs low by doing it all through mail order and not going through your normal retail channels, that would be a way that they could have kept it alive.
That's an excellent response, Boat, an educated response. I think a Dell or a Gateway before they were bought would have both, and of course I believe Gateway actually owned. It was a Gateway that owned some of the Amiga assets for a while.
They were on board for a split second.
The problem is Gateway was on their way to being purchased in the first place, so they were out of the loop. And of course, Michael Dell got out of Dell for much like he came back, but he was out for a long time. But you're right, you may be onto something there. If those guys could have got in on the ground floor, here's the thing though. Here's the bottom of the truth, because we talked about this quite a bit. The Amiga, the Atari ST, these machines, all these 16-bit machines, what was their future? Really? Inevitably, they had no future, did they?
Right.
I mean, honestly, even the Apple, which is still around, is sort of a boutique, specialized. I'm not bad mouthing. Don't get me wrong; it's got its place. But I'm saying PCs rule.
Yeah.
And I think they were going to rule no matter who was running Amiga or Commodore or who was running Atari. I think the future and I think they knew this. I think the future of a company like Commodore or Atari, they both knew, was the console area. They tried. It was a half-assed job. They tried. They didn't get the job done, and they were gone. I don't think they had a future in the PC market because you could see the writing on the wall. The PC market was going to consolidate into an MS-DOS / Windows PC, and there was not a whole lot that could be done about it.
Christian Russell asks, as John and Aaron are two proud West Virginians, it's only natural they will be armed to the teeth. But which of them has the bigger arsenal? I.e., do you own firearms? Have you ever fired some? Do you see the attraction? I don't own any firearms. In general, I am one of these people that is, I do not want to own a gun because I'm of the opinion that unless you're highly trained with firearms, you can do much worse owning them than not owning them. That said, I'm not anti responsible ownership of firearms. I'm not somebody that thinks that we should take away all the guns because practically that's impossible. And I grew up with guns. My father has always been a gun owner. I've shot guns my whole life. I've shot rifles. I've shot pistols. I've been hunting. I'm not against gun ownership. I'm not against hunting, although that's not really a question. But of course, the issue of gun violence in America is insane. And there are no easy answers to how to solve this problem. But just sticking with the actual question itself, I do not own firearms, and I am not in the market to own any firearms.
It's funny to me to watch. I watch a lot of British stuff, and if you ever seen the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, they go to great lengths to these guys to get some rifles to shoot. They have to get some guns. Because it's funny, as an American, we got guns everywhere.
Yeah.
I live across the interstate from a firing range, and I mean, they're blowing crap up day and night over there. Gun-a-mania. So, like Boat said, you're not getting rid of guns in this country. There's so many guns out there as you can imagine, all right? I'm a transplanted to West Virginia and I grew up, I was born and spent 5 or 6 years in New Jersey before we moved here, but haven't been here this long. I guess I'm a proud West Virginia.
Yeah, when you move here when you're 6, you're West Virginia.
Yeah. Guns are as common here as anything. I don't have guns. Let me see. I don't have guns. I don't like guns. I don't fire guns. I don't trust myself around guns, and I don't trust anyone else around guns. I don't like the simple point and click interface of a gun. That much said, my dad hunted. A whole family hunted. Everybody hunts around here, deer hunting. And really, deer hunting is a necessity around here because the deers will take over the roads. Right. You're going to have tons of accidents and stuff if you don't thin out the herd. So that's kind of, a lot of people are like, oh, they're killing all these innocent animals. And I'm sort of with you. But in some ways, it's necessary because we've got so many deer and stuff around. It's unbelievable. That much said, I would never own a gun, but I am for responsible ownership of them. If you're going to listen, we got a country full of guns. We got piles of guns. If you're going to have guns, you need to be educated, and I think most people are, especially around here.
Mm-hmm.
Most people know pretty good gun safety because a lot of people are legacy gunners, like you were talking about your dad. A lot of people have had guns in their house for generations, and so they understand how to take care of a gun, how to treat a gun. That much said, I won't have one in the house. And people are like, why don't you have one of these for protection or whatever? Listen, I'm just not going to do it. How often if it comes up where I can't protect the family because a guy has a gun, I guess I screwed up. But otherwise, I'll take my chances because a lot more people get killed or shot from cleaning the gun or screwing with the gun than somebody breaking in the house and trying to shoot them. So I'm not a big gun guy, but it's a simple fact of life in the States. If I could wave a wand and all the guns would be gone, I'd be waving that sucker big time. But they're here, and so we've got to deal with them. I work directly across the hall from a gun range, Boat. I've heard every conceivable type of gun fired. Guns that shook me but knocked me out of my chair. Right, so there's a zillion different types of guns. They're used in all sorts of crimes. What are we going to do about them? I don't know. But I would be more than happy to see them all go away. But since that's not going to happen, all I can say is get your kids educated at a young age to how to handle a gun, what they are, so they're not a toy to them. And otherwise, just stay away from them.
Yeah.
Or that's basically my philosophy. But I'm like you.
Yeah. Rushi asks, "What's your favorite modern cartoon theme song, and why is it Puffin' Rock?"
I don't know that show. Do you?
Never heard it.
I know Fraggle Rock.
What's your favorite modern cartoon theme song?
Modern cartoon. Gosh. Well, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah. Pepper Ann, baby. Pepper Ann, much too cool for 7th grade. Catch it now. I don't know. It's been like 20 years since I saw Pepper Ann. But that was an awesome song.
I didn't even watch the show that much, but I thought the theme song was so clever. And it's not modern, I guess. But if you ever watch the old Animaniacs show,
oh yeah,
I thought that theme was really good.
Would you like me to sing the whole thing right now for you?
Yeah, I would.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax, and you'll laugh till you'll collapse. We're Animaniacs. Come join the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot. Just for fun, we run around the Warner movie lot. They lock us in the tower whenever we get caught. Then we break loose and then vamoose, and now you know the plot. We're Animaniacs. Dot is cute and Yakko yaks. Wacko packs away the snacks while Bill Clinton plays the sax. We're Animaniacs. Meet Pinky and the Brain, they want to rule the universe. Good feathers flock together while Slappy whacks them with their purse. Buttons chases Nimby while Rita sings a verse. We're Animaniacs. We're Animaniacs. We have paid for paid contracts. We're zany to the max, there's baloney in our slacks. We're Animani, totally insane-y. Pinky and the Brainy, Animaniacs. Those are the facts.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Outstanding, Bode. Outstanding. I'm so glad that question came up. That's, that show was super clever. Like I said, I didn't watch all of them, but I watched enough. And they've got an episode where they talk about all the different countries in the world. I mean, that song. Mm-hmm. How long did that take to write?
Yeah.
Have you heard this?
I have.
It's unbelievable, man. That show. That's one of those shows. You got your Batman animated series. You get your animated. There were some shows that came out, and you could tell they're just like, we're gonna make this awesome.
Yeah.
And they did. Bam. So yes, that's one. In terms of a modern show, I don't watch that many animated shows now. I watch Rick and Morty, which has no lyrics. I watch Bob's Burgers, which I liked Bob's Burgers song. I like the songs they have in the show, but Animaniacs is way better. So I would go with that. This again, that's probably 15 years old, but I always thought that was a great song.
Animaniacs definitely more than 15 years old at this point.
Okay, I'm trying to give me a break. Would you give me a break there?
Rushi asks, has the lack of in-residence schooling negatively affected Bathroom Fight Club, or are the kids just taking it online to the flame boards? So this is in reference to the Bathroom Fight Club that took place at the school that I teach at, where two boys would stand inside a bathroom stall, and a third boy would stand outside the stall holding the door closed while they fight clubbed on the inside.
This reminds me and my buddy Mark. I miss Mark so much. He was a guy I went to college with, and I know him. I still occasionally talk to him. We did this thing called hate in an elevator. And anytime we would get in an elevator by ourselves, we would beat the crap at each other until the door opened. That was the game. And so that was fun for us. And so I'm assuming that the bathroom stall fight would be very similar. Because how much damage can you do in a bathroom stall? There's not much you could do. You could whack a guy into the toilet. You can maybe give him a swirly. That's about it. So, but I mean,
they were really thinking ahead when they set the whole thing up.
As a teacher, how do you feel about this? I mean, are you down on it? Or do you sort of secretly endorse it here on national video?
Well, I like a good scrap as much as anybody. And if you're going to have a good scrap, what better place to have it than inside a bathroom stall with a third person holding the door shut? But
a lot of bad stuff goes down in those stalls, man, and a lot worse than just a couple guys, fight.
I sincerely believe that a big problem that we have with schools these days, especially with boys, is that they don't have enough outlets to release their aggression. There are all kinds of stories from the Catholic schools back in the days when the nuns ruled the place. There used to be a boxing ring in the school.
Yeah.
And when two kids wanted to fight it out, they'd give them gloves and let them go at it. So, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that, and I'll tell you, speaking of those nuns, my boss from the old computer store went to a Catholic school, and he still held a problem with these nuns. They would light him up. These nuns were no joke, Bo. Now, I'm not Catholic. I never went to a Catholic school, but you hear about the nuns with the ruler. And so this is the first time I heard firsthand of a sucker that went to the school, and he told me, he's like, that's straight up true. These nuns would come up behind you with that ruler, and they would light you up old school.
Yeah.
Give you a Ric Flair chop with the ruler, and they would bust you up.
Yeah.
So the thought that the Catholic school would have a ring and boxing gloves let two kids duke it out, that didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
That was part of it. Tough love, Bo.
That was all part of it. Let's see. Next up, Pixels at Dawn asks, across all media, what is your favorite story?
Well, that's a pretty broad question, Bo. You want to tackle that one? What's your favorite story across all media?
I mean, my favorite story is, it's got to be Lord of the Rings. It's the only story that I can bear hearing repeated 1,000 times. I continue to listen to it on audiobook every night before I fall asleep. It's the classic
Yeah.
hero's journey, you know, where you got this guy that is innocent and something bad happens to him and he has to go, you know, fight off the evil and then returns the universe to its proper balance. I can't think of anything better than Lord of the Rings offhand.
You know, I'm going to, since he said across all media,
Mm-hmm.
all right, and I'm going to puss up here. You ready?
I'm ready.
Prepare yourself.
All right, you're going to talk about originally when Undertaker came on the scene, right?
No. I heard a song today, and it was off an album that it's Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill album. I've talked about how much I love this album.
Yeah, you have talked about that.
I love this album, and what I like about it is Alanis Morissette. Because if you listen to her previous albums, they were garbage, hot garbage. It was dance. It was just teenage. It was crap.
When she was on, You Can't Do That on Television.
Yeah, and so she comes out with this album, and I don't know who the hell this chick is, by the way.
Right.
All right, and by the way, huge album, big seller,
Huge album,
made her career.
Yeah.
And every song on this album is her truthful, and completely honest, raw, lyrical stuff.
You might call it a Jagged Little Pill.
That's right. The Jagged Little Pill album. And I love that album. And I think because I like the fact that someone comes clean. She and talks about stuff that pisses her off. Talks about what makes her mad, what she likes, what she hates. I love that album. And so as a overall story, I think that that's, in terms of raw emotion, I would put that up there.
I think that's a great answer, man. That's a great answer.
If I had more time to think about it, you know, I could probably come up with a movie or whatever. But I mean, that's fresh on my mind. And I remember the first time I was hanging out with a chick named Nancy, and she introduced me to this album. And again, this is not the kind of stuff that I would normally get into, but I like the fact that this album was someone, I legitimately think this is someone that actually wrote this stuff because they were pissed off or sad or happy or whatever, and then they recorded it, and it just had to be awesome. So I'll put that on the list.
I like that answer. Very good.
Yeah,
Very
thank
good.
you. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Bo.
Let's see. Rushi asks, have you ever watched a movie that was so disappointingly bad you wanted to walk away, but you didn't because you felt like it was a personal challenge and you refused to let them get yet one up on you?
Well, I've watched a lot of Mystery Science Theaters, Bo. In terms of going to, if I went to the theater, I was like, this is horrible, I'm leaving. I can only think of a few movies that come up. I mean, I never walked out of a film. And I was at a movie where my friends walked out. Mm-hmm. You ever see that movie, Born on the 4th of July?
It's Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah, I think.
No, that was Platoon.
No, it was the other guy. Cruise.
Tom Cruise
was in it. Tom Cruise. It's a fine film.
Vietnam
I didn't have a
movie,
problem
right?
with it. That's right. I had friends walk out when it played. And I thought it was okay, but Mars Attacks, I think that was the name of it. That was one I wanted to walk out on.
Really? Was that not a good movie?
No,
I've never seen
it. I hated it.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was crap.
Okay.
I thought it was horrible. That was one. We saw this movie. I wish I could remember the name of it, where these people, Annabella.
That's the scary doll, right?
That's right, the scary doll. That sucked. I was ready to get out of that, but I paid. When you pay $10 or whatever per ticket, plus I'm paying for another sucker.
Right.
I'm going to stay for
Here's
this movie
what
no
you
matter
do.
what.
When I was this was probably 20 years ago now. I went to watch a movie called Stuntman. Do you remember this movie?
I don't, Bo.
This was one of these. It starred some comic actor. He played some stuntman. This movie was no good. Okay, and I was faced with the same existential question. I've paid $10 to see this movie. Should I stay and tough it out? And the answer was no. I got up, I walked out of there, and I walked into Hairspray, one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Wait a minute, you saw Hairspray in the theater?
In the theater.
Oh,
now
I salute you, sir.
This was not.
I salute you.
This was the.
I never thought that was played in the theater.
This is the newer. This is the newer Hairspray. There's been two. You know, the second one is better.
That's the one that had Ricky Lake in it.
No, the original Hairspray had Ricky Lake in it.
No, the original Hairspray had Divine in it.
No, it didn't. The original Hairspray movie had Ricky Lake in it.
They remade one after Ricky Lake?
There was no original Hairspray movie that had Divine in it. You're getting your John Waters movies confused. Anyway, this one had a whole different cast of characters. It had the guy from Back to the Future in it. It had John Travolta playing a woman. Look it up. Type in Divine Hairspray. See how many millions of hits you get.
It was 2007. That's when it came out. But wasn't there one before this?
Yes, it had Ricky Lake in it.
Okay, so they've remade this since then.
Yes.
That's what's confusing me. Who was in the second one?
John Travolta is a woman, and
Okay.
and the guy from the what's his name as the other guy.
But Divine was in the first.
No, there was no first one.
The one with Ricky Lake, was Divine in that?
I don't think so. They wouldn't let Divine on an actual movie set.
What do you mean? Divine was awesome. What are you talking about? He was awesome. You didn't like Divine?
No. What Rushi also asks, what's a movie that you will always feel compelled to buy each time it's released on a newer, higher quality format?
I never buy anything on a high. I don't buy any media. Zero media. I don't care about the quality of the picture. I'll put a VCR, and Bo, you know this, so I don't have to tell you. I will watch garbage. I'll have wrestling that was shot on someone's butt. I mean, it's horrible. I don't care. So I don't care if they have the super whamadine, triple Blu-ray, like you can see the nostril hairs. Don't care. I don't give a crap about any of that.
I'm sort of similar to you, except for me, I'm a little bit better, which I guess I could say for most things in life.
Now wait.
No, but the when I DVD was the big thing for me, like because of the sound. When you like for me, like VHS, the picture was never an issue, but like sometimes you watch like an old DVD and the sound would just be crap. But DVD, when they introduced like CD quality sound, that was a big deal. So I bought a lot of stuff that I had on VHS on DVD, but Blu-ray and UHD, QHD, no, I'm done.
You know, this may surprise you, Bo. I don't want to alarm you, but I'm a dirty, rotten, stinking, filthy pirate from way back, Bo.
I've heard that.
I ain't buying nothing, brother. I ain't downloading a 20 gig Blu-ray either. Mm-hmm. So they're safe.
You only pirate VHS rips, is what you're saying.
I pirate low res garbage. Mm-hmm. I don't even pirate that. I got crap I can never watch. You know what I mean? Listen, I got Netflix, right? I got the Hulu. I've got the Amazon Prime, right? I'm paying for all this crap. I can't watch it half the stuff that's on it. You know, there's too much stuff. I don't care. I used to have, remember that mountain of VHS tapes I have?
Man, I think about that sometimes just with fondness.
I know. And, you know, I miss all those tapes, you know.
I remember at the mountain, like you had the arcade machine and then you had that shelf, and that shelf was like 6 shelves high, just full of VHS tapes.
You know, our good buddy tapes from the crypt. He's a big VHS guy, and I legitimately feel bad that I trashed that huge box of VHS tapes. I'll never get over it, you know, but it had to happen because I had no choice, right? But the quality of stuff never bothered me. I remember back in the early days of movie bootlegging, if you had a cam recording of Star Wars Episode 1, right, which is one of the first things I remember getting, you were gold. You just watched some guy in the theater hold the camera up like a dipstick. It's shaking. You see suckers get up for popcorn, take a piss. No one cared.
It adds
right?
to the ambience, really.
Well, it did. Listen, that movie needed all the help it could get. Right. But my point is, I would sit and watch it. I didn't care. You can't quite hear what they're saying. You can figure it out, you know? Yeah. So no, I didn't upgrade jack squat. I don't care, man. I don't give a crap about any of that stuff.
Let's see. Rich asks, if you could have lunch with one person, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh, man. Houdini.
That's a good choice.
Houdini. Yeah, I've always been interested in Houdini. And, you know, of course, his past is sort of mysterious. And I've always just been intrigued. Another guy, there's 2 guys I would like to talk to. Well, actually 3. I would like to talk to Houdini, H.P. Lovecraft, right, would be on there, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. All 3 of those guys would be on my short list. What about you?
Well, I mean, if we're going all the way back, I'd say the big JC would be up there.
You're going to talk to Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think about that.
Because, I just want to say, you know what? What's the deal with all this stuff? Give me the lowdown. But if,
you know, Salou, you've trumped me on that one. I never thought about actually talking to the big man.
But if we're talking about somebody sort of in the pop culture 20th century realm, I've always really admired Steve Wozniak, definitely more than Steve Jobs, because he seems so
Yeah.
down to earth and cool. But yeah, that's probably my answer. The Waz.
Let me ask you a question. This is a controversial. What if you talk to the big man JC and he goes, "Listen, Boat, I'm just a guy."
Right.
Then what do you do?
Then you change your way of thinking.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that Polyester Links here says he'd like to go to dinner with the Nate, Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that it also crossed my mind.
What would it? Sub question. What could you possibly want to know about the Nates that he hasn't already talked about?
Well, I'd want to talk to the Nate in like 1985 at the peak of his. I just want to, not because I don't listen. You don't give a crap what he's got to say. You just want to be with him when this stuff goes down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've heard all these stories. He's naked on the plane with his robe on, walking the aisles. I want to be there for that.
Okay.
I will say that would be intriguing.
So you really just want to see the naked nature boy Ric Flair, is what you're saying.
I don't want to see him naked, but I want to be there.
You know the ending of the robe story. The ending of the robe story is he's no longer wearing the robe.
Listen, there's stewardesses involved. There's booze. There's I want to be involved in some crazy antics. You know, you're not going to get that with Jesus Christ. You're going to get that with the Nate.
That's true.
That's my point.
That's true. Chris Folds asks, if you could time travel, but it's a one-way deal and only backwards, what era would you happily travel back to and be stranded in?
These questions are completely insane. So I have to go back in time, but I can't come back forward.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
Right.
See, that's a trick question because if I could say something like, boy, I'd like to go back and see, like, I don't know, I'd like to see the building of the Great Wall of China. Well, then you're screwed. You're sitting there.
Yeah, you're living in a time that you don't want to be living in because there's no toilets.
I'll let you answer this one first.
I would not want to go any back further than the 80s. Yeah. I would love to live in Silicon Valley in the 80s. Everything was on the up and up. All the cool people were hanging around there. You put your money in the S&P 500 and you get super rich. That's where I'd want to go.
You know, Brock said it right there. And Bart
Lesnar?
fit too. No, Brock 101 in a chat. And our listen, these people in the chat are not fools. These are geniuses. The early to mid 70s. All right. Now, I'll grant you, I was born in 71, but I was a baby. All right. The 70s, as I recall, were this sort of laid back, cool time where everybody was cool. I like the fashion. I like the decor. I just like that era, right? It's a laid back sort of I'm a laid back guy. I like that kind of stuff. So, but I'm like you. I'm not going back further than indoor toilets and stuff. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'll time travel, but let's not get crazy.
Curtis says mid 70s Silicon Valley. I'd like to adjust I'd like to go back a little bit further than the 80s. Mid 70s Silicon Valley. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you think about all the crap that went down at Atari and stuff. That'd be a lot of fun.
Hanging out with Nolan Bushnell in the hot tub, the Stogies.
Plus, you could get your stock market picks in early because we both know enough about stock market stuff to know. Okay, invest in this, and then you're going to make the money.
That's right.
So yeah. Mm.
Okay, let's see. Mitsuyama asks, Aaron recently mentioned the Hillbilly Flea Market on a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Can he provide some more details on this intriguing emporium and tell us what bargains can be picked up there?
Absolutely. Boy, the Hillbilly Flea Market comes up a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
The Hillbilly Flea Market is a flea market. It's a series of buildings in Greenup, Kentucky. That's Green.
I love how you slipped into Kentucky when you said Kentucky. It's like you
Kentucky.
Yeah, right.
That's right. And it's a hillbilly. It's a flea market, which is it's a building with rooms, and in these rooms, at the front of the room, sits a hillbilly, and his wares are stacked back yonder. You know what I mean, Boat?
I know what you mean.
Back yonder are his goods, and you're going to go in there and you're going to peruse whatever goods that feller's got.
How many price tags are you going to see on this stuff, Aaron?
You ain't going to see no price tags. Are you kidding me? There might be a sticker on that sucker, but that's it. And so you go through here. So I've actually shot a video of this. I don't know if I ever put it up.
I've got
footage. I've got footage of the Hillbilly Flea Market. You walk in. You walk through a series of don't worry. There are alcoves with doors that you can go outside and smoke.
Yeah.
So you're covered.
Don't worry about that.
Right? That's no problem because everyone there's smoking. You go in, you go through, and then right in the middle of it's the Hillbilly Flea Market restaurant. There's a concession stand there with all the hillbilly accoutrement you need food wise. And then once you go out the back of the building, that ain't the end of the flea market. That's when the flea market really begins, because there are lined in the parking lot are some hillbillies that couldn't afford to get in the big building. That's where the deals are made, folks.
That's right.
I bought a television out there one time because this guy was like, "Listen, this is a hillbilly in television. There's a little mud on it." I was like, "I'm going to take a chance, pal." I bought that sucker. I've also bought other things out there, but that's the one thing that comes to mind. But the hillbillies they're polite. These are straight up country folk, Yep. They're not faux hillbillies. If you're in Greenup, Kentucky, you're not a poser.
Not like you see around here.
No, these are real straight up hillbillies. They're taking their money to go home and buy victuals for their youngins. That's what they're doing. I like the hillbilly flea market. You can get a good deal in there. They will. Everything's negotiable, Boat. You know, you can always work out a deal, except for that Conan for the Atari 8-bit that I can't get that guy to make a deal.
He won't come down.
You want $60 solid, $60. By the way, if you want clone Nintendo systems, bam, you got Nintendo clones at the Yin Yang, Boat. They're selling these things. Everyone's selling these suckers. You know, the clientele are snaggletooth. They're a good bunch. They're a friendly bunch. And when you're not there, they're just sitting outside their booths shooting the crap with all their other hillbilly buddies.
Right. It's really a social network as well as a marketplace.
That's right. And then they've got some chaw. You got to have some chaw in.
If you're not comfortable around chewing tobacco, you should not go to the hillbilly flea market.
I've heard people badmouth the hillbilly flea market for being a group of vagrants or backwoods yokels, but these people don't understand the aesthetic of Greenup County, Kentucky.
Right.
That's just the way people are there. They're good, old school, old-fashioned people. They're not trying to screw you. You know, they want your money. There's a guy that sells old albums. You'd love this guy, Boat. He's a real old-school album collecting guy. He knows all this stuff. You got your guy that sells like old... every flea market you go to in West Virginia, Kentucky has these people selling food. Where do they get this food? It's little Debbie cakes and chips.
And what you do...
Where the hell does this stuff come from?
Well, you take it out of the box and you put it in your own box and then you sell it. That's how it works.
Well, here's how it is. It's out of date. That's how they sell this stuff, because people have dumped it and they sell it. But it's still good.
Right.
I mean, are you kidding me? Then you got people selling books. There's always a guy that sells like a million books.
Paperbacks. They're all Harlequin romance.
That's right. Yep. Or books of vampires. Yep. And then you got a couple people selling video games, right? They don't know they know what's going on because they got eBay. That's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're completely oblivious. I told you by the time I was there to buy the cocoa, and all they were talking about was how the communists are taking over the state parks. I'll never forget that conversation. The communist Chinese, they're buying up all the state parks in the country. These are the kind of topics and conversations you're going to stumble into at the Hillbilly Flea Market. I hope that shed some light on it, buddy.
Thank you, Aaron. That's probably been the most concise explanation of the Hillbilly Flea Market that's ever been
I need to release that video, but I'll have to dig that up.
You should.
Yeah.
Rushi asks, if you were at the Hillbilly Flea Market and bought an unassuming magical lamp that when rubbed revealed a wimpy genie that allowed you to choose any one Lego set from their entire history, which would you pick?
Yeah. Well, the genie would probably be Buck Owens, would be my guess. Or maybe
like Buck Owens on our Discord or Buck Owens from Hee-Haw?
No, Buck Owens.
The real Buck Owens, okay.
Singer. A Hee-Haw member would be, or Junior Samples.
Junior Seau?
Might be the genie. No, Junior Samples.
Oh, okay.
Remember him from the Hee-Haw show?
No.
And so the question was, what Lego set would they give out? Well,
what would you? Listen, were you a Lego guy back in the day?
Listen, if it was at the Hillbilly Flea Market, it'd be Meglo or whatever. It would be the off-brand of Lego. All right, you're not going to get Lego. Are you kidding me? You city folk might have Lego, but we've got whatever the heck the secondary Duplo or whatever it would be.
Mega Blocks is what you're looking for.
That's right. Yeah. And what you would get would be some sort of barn. That would be my guess. Some kind of barn place.
Okay, I'm going to actually answer this question. I would love to have the Falling Water Lego architecture set from Frank Lloyd Wright. That thing is mega, mega big bucks. It's like $600 or $700 now.
Very snooty, but
yes. All right. Rushi also asks, what is your budget no-name soda of choice, and what foods do you like to pair with it? Everybody knows about RC Cola and Moon Pies, or Peanuts and Coke, but what homebrew concoctions do you enjoy? Shasta and Honey Buns?
There it is. Do I have to say anything? Have I not built this enough, Boat? Diet.
Yeah,
Big K, Dewdrop, Citrus Drop Extreme, Boat. That's what I drink.
All right. I don't really drink soda, so I can't comment.
What about the diet soda water? That's sort of like soda, except
That
hideous.
stuff is nasty, and I will not condone it.
Yeah.
Laurent asks,
Honey buns, yes.
what would be
Sorry.
your ideal occupation? Not in the sense of laying in the sun massaged by a horde of goddesses, but rather in the what constructive activity would you like to be doing if you had the choice?
You got a thought on that, Bode?
Yeah. I'd be a band director.
What would you be? I'm sorry.
I'd be a band director. I'd do exactly what I'm doing right now.
I think I would choose pro bowler. Pro bowler would be my choice.
Really?
Yeah. I like bowling.
Do you?
I like
in all the years I've known you, I've never once been bowling with you, and I've never once heard you going bowling.
I go bowling. I've got a unique approach, and I enjoy bowling. I'm just thinking. Here's my philosophy here, Boat. Now you're not. Let me explain. All right. So we would choose a profession that would get you paid. All right. You're on TV. All right. Because ESPN2 is carrying something, and this is the perfect time to be a bowler because it's a sport where it doesn't require a big crowd. Right. So there's that. Bowlers can be sort of rotund, which I am. All right. And I bowl. I'm a decent bowler. So just to amp my bowling skills up, bowlers make prize money. I know that from Rich's dad was a pro bowler, and he would make a few bucks now and again. And he was a low level bowler. I would want to be one of the top bowlers. You get to tour the country. You know, bowling always have some good arcades. They have a good concession stand. It seems like a win-win.
Okay, now really answer the question.
No, that was an answer. What's wrong with pro bowler? What?
Okay. Let me reframe this. If you could do anything with the skills that you currently possess, what would you do?
Boy, the skills I currently possess.
Yeah, you've got tons of skills. Nunchuck skills, bow staff skills.
Oh, you compare me to Napoleon Dynamite, Bo?
No, I just have to quote.
Because I know that's where you're going.
I have to quote that. But seriously though, like with everything that you know how to do, like, and you can make a living with any of that stuff, what would you like to do?
I would like to host a radio show.
Okay,
that's what I'd like to do.
Because you could definitely do that. What format would you do? What format would you do? Would it be like Stern?
No, I don't like Stern. I would like to do like a radio drama revival. And I would like to be the host. Sort of like
Elvira.
No, not Elvira, you dipstick. I'm talking about somebody. I mean, I like Elvira, but she didn't host radio shows.
She hosted.
What good are the tatas on the radio? They're not going to do jack squat for you.
Your voice is like a tata.
No, it's not. I would like to be like the CBS Radio Mystery Theater, somebody like that who comes and hosts it, and then occasionally also performs in the show, something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Pac Billy.
Can you imagine Elvira on the radio?
No.
What's the point of that?
Yes, I agree completely.
Are you kidding me?
Pac Billy asks, "What's your favorite place you've ever been? It can be anything from a city down to a supermarket."
Now you've been many, many places. So this is probably harder for you than it is for me. My favorite place I've ever been, I'll tell you. I love the beach, Boat.
Yeah, I'm always shocked to hear you talk about how much you love the beach. I don't peg you as a beach bum.
I'm from the Jersey Shore,
yes,
Boat.
Yes.
So it's ingrained into me, all right? And I love the beach. And I'll have to say, the last time we went to Carolina Beach, that beach has a bad rep for being sort of wonky with a bunch of bad elements involved. But I really enjoyed that. The historical aspects of it, the beach itself, I really enjoyed it. The old woman was on her best behavior for once, and the kid had a good time. So I would say somewhere on the coast. Now, I do like the Nags Head area, so probably but the thing is, it's inundated with tourists. So I guess I'd want to go somewhere sort of south of the Carolina coast area where there's not that many tourists, but I would like to live on the beach. I think that's where I'd like to go. But yeah, I'd say the Carolina Beach area, I really enjoyed that.
For me, it would be the Japanese countryside for sure. Give me Japan. Give me a nice public bathhouse. Give me a band, because if you've ever seen, you're making a face at the public bathhouse.
That's right, Bo. I am.
Public.
Let me tell you something. If I strolled into a public bathhouse and saw your naked hiney sticking out, that's no bias, man. I don't want to see that.
Listen, everybody wants to see that.
No one.
Give me a good Japanese band to direct. I'd be happy. That's all I want.
No. Huh? Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
So you're telling me your naked, white, Caucasian butt's going to stroll into a Japanese bathhouse?
How many?
Have you done that before?
Yes, of course I have.
Why?
Because it's awesome.
Can't you take a bath at home?
No. Listen, man. You don't know the joys of the public bathhouse unless you've gone. I'm not talking about like 1970s San Francisco public bathhouse. It's a different thing over there. You get naked, you shower up, you soap down, you shower up again, then you get in the hot pool, then you get in the cold pool, then you get in the sauna, then it's back to the cold pool.
No.
How comfortable are you with being around tons of other naked men?
Not comfortable, bro.
You would not like it.
Listen, I'm not rolling in Japan and dropping trowel and going into a public bathhouse. What's the advantages of that versus a private bath?
Paul, a.k.a. Hermsky, asks...
No, wait a minute. Hold on a second. No. We're not done yet. You didn't answer the question. If you're soaked up and naked in your own bathroom, why do you need to be soaked up and naked in front of a bunch of other men?
Okay.
What is the appeal of that?
I'll tell you what the appeal is. The appeal is that you are surrounded by nature. Okay, so if you go to one of these public bathhouses, you've seen anime before. You know how it goes down. There's a
tentacle in there.
No, there's tons of trees around and stuff like that. There's tons of bamboo.
In a bathhouse?
Yes.
There's bamboo up in there.
Yeah.
And trees in a bathhouse?
Yeah, and then you just strike up the conversation.
Aren't there a bunch of naked Japanese guys in the bathhouse? You just walk up. You're talking to a naked Japanese guy in the bathhouse.
Listen, man, if you're not talking
what
naked...
do you say to him?
You say...
Nice wang.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you possibly... No, that's not what you say. Horrible. That's a horrible answer. Move on.
Okay. Paul, a.k.a. Hermsky, writes, if you had to choose a game character to come back as, what would you pick? And where would you most like to haunt? Or who would you most like to haunt?
A game character I could come back as, is what you're saying. I had to ponder this for a minute. The first thing that comes to mind, Boat, I've never even played this game, but I know about the cutscenes and the general bad, super awesomeness of the guy is the dude from God of War.
Oh, yeah.
Ares.
Kratos.
That guy, Kratos, that's right. He's got hot chicks in the mini games. Yep. He's got all kinds of power. He looks like a stud. He's all jacked. Ripped Chisla jacked. I would pick that guy. I'm sure the games are fine. I've never played them.
I would go with Mario.
Oh, I knew it. That's the lamest answer.
No.
Mario.
Because you know why? Because when you go to haunt, because who are you going to haunt? You're not going to haunt somebody you like. You're going to haunt somebody you don't like. So what you're going to do is you're going to hide in the closet. Whenever they open the closet, you're going to go, it's a me!
You're going to... That's the only reason, huh?
That's it.
I thought maybe you get to see Luigi and Bowser naked at the bathhouse.
Listen,
that was the appeal
it's enough
for
bathhouse talk out of you.
You're creeping me out with this stuff. Move on.
Chris Folds. Okay. Here's one more question from Paul. What game world would you choose to reside in if asked at the Pearly Gates?
Game world. I mean, like, the beautiful, luscious, vibrant world of Lionheart comes to mind.
With all those ugly beetles.
Listen, the beetles are helpful. They help you get up to the vines.
That's true.
Come on, these are good bugs. But if I had to pick a game with lush environments for me to exist in, it would probably be one of these Japanese role-playing games. If you look at the like Pokemon or something comes to mind. Let's look at the world of Pokemon, right? You got Ash, this kid who's like 12 or whatever. He roams from woods and stuff. He lives on his own. He has these adventures. Everyone's friendly. They all love him. The world is lovely. You could do a bunch of animal on animal fighting with these Pokemon. I would go with the world of Pokemon, Boat. That's where I'm going to go.
Okay. I don't think that's a bad answer. I would probably go with the world of Super Mario Sunshine. You're on a lush tropical isle.
That's not what I thought you would say.
What did you think I was going to say?
You know that crazy popular farm game you love? What's that thing called?
Animal Crossing?
That's it. I thought you would go there.
Well, here's the problem with Animal Crossing.
You can fort with a bunch of animals.
The problem with Animal Crossing is that you're limited to only one. Like, the world is very small compared to like the world of Pokemon or something else. I'd want something where I could roam around a little bit.
I see. And you don't want to do any farm work, do you?
Oh my gosh, manual labor is the last thing I need in my life.
Where you would have, if you went to that world, you have to bring Eep with you to do all the work for you while you sit back and drink pina colada.
That's right. Chris Folds asks, this is a good question. If you could automate one aspect of your daily life, what would it be and why?
Easy. That's an easy one, Bo. Going to the can.
Really? I enjoy my can time.
No, I want that taken care of, like, automatically. Like, I don't have to be involved.
Would you rather not be involved? How would that work?
I'd rather not be involved. I can, through the use of beaming technology, like in Star Trek, I would like the waste to be removed from my body and then automatically distributed into the appropriate, peripheral. That's what I'd like to see happen.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because think about it. Another one, Bo, sleeping. If you could get rid of that, for example, let's say they could take your brain out, condition it, a la little computer people, have the little robotic hand come out and go like this, and then your brain's good to go for another 12 hours. That would be number 2.
Okay.
But the bathroom would be number 1. Ha, no pun intended.
For me, it would definitely be getting up in the morning. Like, if my alarm could go off, and then all of a sudden I could just blink my eyes and I would be fully dressed and ready to go and start my day, then I would love that.
Well, bathroom would be more convenient, Bo. Think of how much you get done.
Think about all.
You enjoy your bathroom.
Think about all the Twitter videos I watch while I'm on the can. I wouldn't want to give that up.
I don't want to think about that. What are the Japanese guys beside you thinking when you're sitting there with your phone?
Listen, man, there's no toilet in the public bathhouse.
Yeah, I bet there is one. Don't lie.
There probably is. Rushi asks. Oh no, I'm sorry. Almost skipped Mr. Cola. Mr. Cola asks, "Are any of you Trekkies? If so, what's your favorite series and why?"
Well, we had an incredible discussion
Trek Talk with Amigo Aaron.
That's right, where I held court amongst the other Trek people. Of course, anyone that watches or listens to this show knows that the correct answer is the original series. Star Trek, the original series with Spock, Kirk. You got Bones, Scotty, Uhura, hot, by the way. You got Sulu, Chekhov, everybody, the whole gang. That was the best Star Trek there ever was. Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. Enough said. I think I ranked them Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek, the Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Voyager, and then Star Trek Picard bringing up the rear, unfortunately, Bo. That's the way I look at it. What about you? You're not a big Trek guy, are you?
I was a huge Trek guy back in the day. I think I've regaled you with tales of being outside on the bleachers behind the middle school designing my shuttlecraft with Chad.
I forgot about your geekery. I forgot about that. Yes, you were a colossal geek. Yeah. Thank God you reformed, Bo.
But the only shows that I've ever watched are DS9 and Voyager. DS9 and Next Gen. I watched Next Gen every night. It used to come on at like 9 or 10 o'clock at Fox every single night. And I had this little black and white TV in my room, and I used to watch that.
Yes, I love it. I love that.
Yeah, and I remember. Do you remember this? Do you remember when they used to play it's 9:10 and your local Taco Bell is still open? They'd show, this was probably like 94, 95. So you were already a grown man by this point. And you were also living in Lexington, so they probably didn't they didn't roll that commercial then. But I still remember that. It was good times. I watched most of and I remember my dad actually watched the last episode of Next Gen with me because I told him it was a big deal. He had no idea what was going on.
I love, first of all, before you continue, I love the fact that you had a black and white TV in your room. Then was it on an antenna or did you have cable?
It was on an antenna. It was a weird thing. It was a combination AM, FM, stereo, cassette player, and television all in one. And the cassette player was removable, and you could put batteries in it and turn it into a Walkman.
Before we continue, I looked in the chat here. And Doug from 10 Minute Omega Retrocast just popped in with the stupidest answer I've ever read. Doug, I love you to death, my friend, but DS9 and Voyager is your top 2? Call me when the shuttle lands, pal. because that is a discrediting response. You've got the original series as the worst Star Trek. Are you kidding me, pal? Get that out of here. Now, getting back to you, Boat. I used to have a black and white TV myself, and I was the only kid around that had one. And I used to have the antenna, much like yourself. There was no way to hook cable to this, so I took a bunch of duct tape, and I took the cable from our cable TV and duct taped it to the antenna, and it worked. It worked. You could actually get that. Yeah, man.
I was only watching network stations, so but I could pick up Fox. It was played on Fox, and I remember that was the first time. That was back when Rush Limbaugh used to have a TV show. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah. Disaster.
And it was like a 15-minute show. It came on between like 11 and 11:15, and then it went off.
Did you watch his show?
I had no idea what he was talking about because I was in middle school. But anyway,
it was Star Trek time.
The worst was Picard. Picard started off so strong. Remember when me and you and Matt and Chad were watching it, and the first episode came on, and we were like, man, this is going to be great. And then they started gouging out people's eyes, and it sucked.
And then Picard was treated like like the worst form of garbage. You saved the universe 3 times. Screw you, loser. I couldn't believe that. Garbage. Yeah. But we were on the same page.
Yeah, DS9 is my favorite because that was the only one that I really watched when I was. So it had an arc, and I thought it was cool. I don't know. I will probably never watch Star Trek again because I don't know.
So it was cool. Oh no!
We just lost the stream.
No. Ah.
All right, we'll move on to the next question. I'm going to stop and restart the stream. Man, we went all the way down to 0. Are you still here, Aaron? No, you're not.
You're coming in and out real bad.
Okay. It's amazing, though, that we are still able to record this. Like, I can still see you just fine. And so, anyway, I'm going to stop and restart the stream and see if that helps.
Okay. It's getting better.
Can but you can still hear me. We can still continue, right?
I can hear you, but you sound like garbage.
Okay. I'm going to stop and restart the stream. I think I've just... Although I will say that we were streaming for like 4.5 hours and we had no problems, so I call that a win. Okay. So here's the next question, Aaron. Rushi asks, what's the most recent game that you've purchased for a system that isn't dead or on homebrew life support?
The most recent...
Don't count PC.
So let me get this right. The most recent game I've played for a console that is dead.
Right. Well, it doesn't have to be dead. It would be... Like, okay, what's the newest console that you have?
Xbox 360.
Okay, what was the last game that you bought for the Xbox 360?
Burnout Paradise Island, I think was the last one I bought.
Okay, that is the answer of that question.
Although I was going to say if it was for a dead computer, it would be Drift. Which just
except that you didn't buy it.
That's true. You're right. If I had to buy it, yeah. It would have been that. I've bought a bunch of Xbox 360 games, but I think Paradise Island was the last one I actually bought that was new, newish.
For me, it is Katamari Damacy Forever. Katamari Forever for the PS3. I bought a PS3 only for that game.
Did you buy a Wii U for just one game?
I bought it for Mario Kart. It was a mistake.
I got to say something. Me and the boy have been playing Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U. Mm-hmm. This game. I don't know. Maybe this is widely heralded or something. This is an unbelievably good game. This game eclipses all the other Mario games times 10. It is off the freaking charts good. I can't believe how they keep coming up with original material for these Mario games is unbelievable. I don't know who they got working on this stuff, but it is already. Have you played it?
It's funny that you mentioned that because it's included on that CoinOps build that I have. And I played through the first level, and I was very impressed with what was going on there. So,
every level is. There are so many unique elements to this game, and I have, Luke's got Mario Odyssey for the Switch, which I haven't played, and I've heard it's good.
Right.
How it could beat this, I don't know how. This game, and I've played most of the Mario games. This game is literally, I'm stunned at how good it is. So full props to Nintendo. There's a reason why they're still around, Boat, and they've outlasted Sega because their first-party crap is off the charts.
Have you played that?
Great
have you
game.
played that new Super Frog? Oh no, you haven't, because they didn't make one because the first one was awful. Rushi asks, what are you most looking forward to seeing in a movie theater once they open it up again?
Nothing. There's nothing coming out that I care about. What about you?
Same. I don't like going to the movies, and I don't really watch movies. So
I like going to the movies, but they cost $8 million. The movies are all crap.
My favorite part about going to the movies is after you get your popcorn and you walk down the hallway to go into the theater, and you get that sort of like tingly feeling, and you're like, oh boy, I'm at the movies. But then once the movie starts, it's awful. So
yeah, you know, when I used to go to the old Keith Albee, you really got that real special feeling because you're in this old classic theater, or the Kentucky Theater was like this. And the only time I get a real special feeling at the theater is when they're playing an old movie that I know is good.
Right.
And there's a packed house. It's like a midnight movie, like a Rocky Horror or a Shock Treatment or something like that, a cult classic that I really enjoy. I will be very happy for this. Or I'll tell you something else. Going to see a Riff Tracks live, if they got a big crowd in there and they've got a real good flick, I get a nice feeling. But otherwise, most modern flicks, you know, we've been off all this time. I've watched like 1 or 2 movies.
Yeah.
I just don't care. Even stuff that I would normally like, it's just like, you know, I don't care that much.
I agree with you 100%. Roshi asks, when was the last time you had a moving violation in your car?
What an ironic question, because I just got one.
Oh, really?
I got one 3 days ago. I went to go get Teresa and Luke a McDonald's. All right. I pulled out the housing development, and I saw a police a Jeep on my butt. It was the Blazer,
right.
where they are.
Yeah, Blazers.
And I knew I was screwed right away because these guys. I work with the cops, so I went to take the back way to McDonald's, and he got me to housing development, pulled me over, bam. He got me for running a stop sign at the entrance of the housing development up here, which is ludicrous because there was no one there. And so I just made a right turn. Well, I didn't make a full stop.
Right.
This is one of those rules that make you not like cops.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. It's when they come out, fundraiser time. Listen, I can't go into too much of my anger because for the obvious reasons, but I wasn't pleased. What about you?
It's been a long time. I think 2012 was the last time. It was in Milton. I was coming back from choir practice over at Jim's Camping. You familiar with Jim's Camping?
Absolutely, yeah.
I was probably going like 50 and a 40 or something like that. Got nabbed. $250 ticket. Sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They hit me up for 180, Boat. And they said, I told the chick, I'm like, 180? Good God. She goes, listen, that's the cheapest ticket we've got. And I thought to myself, that says volumes right there. And this is the kind of crap that drives me nuts, because this is the reason why people don't like the police. Right. It's a simple reason, because of this Mickey Mouse crap. And then they charge you out the butt. And the funny thing is, almost all of that is court costs, and you won't go to court.
Right.
So as an added bonus. So yeah, the whole system in America is a joke.
I agree.
There you go.
What's your longest continuous period of not getting a ticket?
This past period, it's been, I can't remember, a decade probably since I got one.
Yeah. So last time I got one was 2012. I've only gotten probably 3 in my life, so.
Yeah, I'm about the same. Probably less than that.
Chris Folds asks, what superpower do you want the most and why?
I would go with immortality. That's it. Okay. That's simple.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I would like to become invisible. I think being invisible would be the best superpower. I don't want to.
That sounds like a disaster.
Why?
I don't want your invisible, weird boatness walking or creeping around.
Listen, man. When I go to the public bath.
That's it. That's exactly right there is why I don't want it. You're in your PJ bottoms and your slippers, and you're drinking something in your weird cup. I don't want that sneaking around.
Your bath could be my public bath if I was invisible.
See that? Bam. There you go.
L. Curtis Boyle asks, on any platform, what is your favorite simultaneous multiplayer game and why?
Tough question, Boat. I've got to say COH because I play so much of it. But I'm going to tell you, I was talking about this earlier to the guys. Warlords is such a great game. You get the 4 paddles out and play that with 4 people. That is, and Worms World Party is another one. But I would say COH just because I've played it for so many years. City of Heroes. What about you?
I have so many. There are a ton of games that I've played multiplayer that I love. GoldenEye on the N64 is great. I'm talking about couch co-op. I'm not talking about online. Online's crap. Playing Worms with a bunch of people around, although I didn't really do that much because I didn't have a Dreamcast when I was in the peak of my... but I'd say probably it's a lot of N64 games.
It's Worms on every system.
Having those 4 ports in the front of the system was huge. So probably GoldenEye and Mario Kart and Mario Party. Mario Party gets a bad rap, but it's a lot of fun to play with your buddies.
Me and the boy played a ton of Mario Party. I forgot one, which would be Toko Rashiden for the PlayStation, Toko Rashiden 2 and 3 for the Dreamcast. That was 4. The wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Me and my buddies played the crap out of that for years and years and years. And we would watch Monday Nitro and Raw and play the game. We had 2 TVs and it was, I remember that, and I would have these huge cookouts. This is when wrestling was hot.
Yep.
We had a big cookout. We'd have like
that
10,
was sort
12,
of,
15, 20 people there, and it was awesome.
That was when you were in your prime in Lexington, too, right? That was when you were at the height of your powers.
I'm in my prime now.
No. When you were in Lexington, you had the house, you had the Tron, the environmental discs of Tron. You were at the height of your powers.
I'm in the house now. I didn't have the environmental discs. It wouldn't fit through the front door. Yeah.
Pixels at Dawn asks, what is your favorite game based on a TV series?
Minder.
Really? That's crap.
I loved Minder. That's a great show.
No, but the game is crap.
It's not crap. What? My favorite game based on a TV show. Let me go ahead and answer. I'll ponder
The Addams
this.
Family. Done.
Well, duh. That was easy for you. Man, there's not a whole lot of great games based on TV series. I mean, I'll let some face facts. Like, I'm thinking, what are my favorite TV series? Star Trek, Wild Wild West, Firefly, Babylon 5. Like, most of those didn't get games.
True.
So I'm boned. The Prisoner, that didn't get no game. Most of the shows I like don't get a game.
Was The Prisoner, was that like every Cornhouse, Click House, and Ken House put a perimeter out 9950?
No. Whatever you said is no.
That's not that?
No,
what is that?
None of that.
There's a really famous speech. It's like every hen house. I don't think that... Oh, it's The Fugitive. The Fugitive is what I'm thinking of. The Fugitive and The Prisoner are almost the same thing. So you know where I'm coming from.
No. Absolutely no. No. The Prisoner, Patrick McGowan, the genius, who wrote a lot of the episodes. It's a man, the very beginning of the first episode, Patrick McGowan, who was a secret agent, walks into his the boss's office. He slams his resignation down the table. He's like, I'm out. I'm done being a secret agent. He goes back to his apartment. He's packing his crap. He's going to an exotic vacation island. Well, and you know how this goes, Boat. You're packing for an exotic trip, and a midget walks up and gasses you. And that's what happens to him. The next thing you know, he wakes up on the island. He's the prisoner, and he can't leave. And that's the basis for the show. It's a great show, and there's never been a game out for The Prisoner. So, it's a great, great show. I highly recommend this for anybody that hasn't seen it. But I'm trying to think of my favorite games based on a movie or show. It's tough. I can't think of too many. I guess Star Wars. Well, no, that's a movie. I don't have one. I'll have to ponder it. Well, for now, it's a Minder.
It's okay to not have one.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you could stop, Lord Soup asks, if you could stop Star Wars being...
No.
Go ahead, say it.
No, it was a movie. I keep thinking of movies, not shows. Go ahead.
Okay, Lord Soup...
I was going to say Crawl.
Lord Soup asks, if you could stop Star Wars from being so sucky, what would you do and why?
What would I do? Well, I guess the most obvious thing to do is to, after the original trilogy, what you do is you go find George Lucas and you chuck him off a cliff. That'd be that's the only thing I could think of. But I can't. That would do it. I think. The thing about Star Wars, it's just like Star Trek. I think is inevitably they're gonna make. It didn't matter. Let's say George Lucas spontaneously combusted after he wrote Jedi. All right, he's gone. All right, some sucker is gonna roll up with a dump truck full of money to the Lucas estate. They're gonna say like, hey, we got an idea to make you more money. And they're gonna sell out, and then they're gonna make some kind of crap. So there is no way to get around it. You're boned any way it goes.
Yeah, I think that if Lucas would have because the guy that wrote Empire, I can't think of his name, but anyway, if he would have let him write the prequels instead of Lucas, and if he would have Lucas, if he would have just bowed out after the original trilogy. Of course, the famous story is that the whole reason why the prequels even came out is because he was trying to pay for his divorce. So, it's hard to say if that hadn't happened, if we would have even got the prequels at all. So
maybe that's the answer. We should go and convince his wife to stay with her.
I think that's the answer. All right.
That's like a Back to the Future type thing.
Let's see. Rusi asks, what's your favorite game based on a movie? You going to say Kroll?
My favorite game based on a movie. Now, what is yours?
The Addams Family.
Man, see, that is a pat answer for you every time. That makes it hard for me. I'm going to go with the Vector version of Star Wars. When I first saw this game, I couldn't freaking believe it, Bode. It was Star Wars, and you're blowing up the Death Star, and it says Vector.
That's a great choice.
And it talked, use the Force, Luke. And Han was there, and Luke. Bam! That was a great game. And you sit down in that environmental. Mm-hmm. You got the freaking controller. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you, when I was a kid, Luke Skywalker was the man. He was you're like, this is the man.
Right.
And Han and all these guys. Now they've ruined all these guys. But at the time, they were awesome. And Darth Vader was a bad dude. You didn't screw with that guy. So yeah, I'd go with that.
What's your favorite game based on a book? I know your answer. You haven't even thought about it yet, but I'll tell you what it is.
It'd probably be that Call of Cthulhu game or the Dunwich Horror.
No, it's not. It's Neuromancer for the Amiga.
No, I like the Dunwich Horror game better.
No, you don't.
I think.
I don't know.
I do. Although that's a good boat. Listen, excellent. I was surprised. I was looking at our stats. That was one of our most well-received episodes.
Really?
I don't know if you knew. Yeah. Which is surprising because, as I recall, that got voted worst game of the year that year by the jerk fans that tried to screw me. But I think the H.P. Lovecraft game that's based, let's say it's based on many of his works. I think it's a tremendous game. I'm talking about the one that was out for the Xbox. I think that was really gave you the feel for being in that environment. What about you?
I don't know if I've ever played a game that was based on a book. I don't know that I ever have. Books are so much more important to me than movies are.
Did you ever play that American McGee Alice in Wonderland? What about that? Something like that?
No, I definitely remember when that came out, but I never played it. That was one of those weird PC titles that
where it shoot 'em up. It's like first-person shooters.
Yeah.
It is. They don't take a lot of deep, intricate novels and turn them into video games.
I guess
like a War and Peace or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably Dune 2 is obviously it's a landmark game, and I like the Dune book, so I'll probably go with Dune 2, but that's not a real answer.
Dune 2, I don't recall you being very apt at that game, Bo.
What are you talking about? Dune 2, I did it by myself because you were lazing around.
Lazing? I was almost dead. That game almost killed me. You picked that as your choice.
Okay. And finally from Rushi, what's your favorite reboot of a game or series?
I have to ponder this for a minute, Bo. What do you got?
Probably Street Fighter 2, the movie, the game.
That's the worst, most stupid answer you could give. I'll give you credit. I'll have to say they did a version of the Tron game for the Xbox, right? I can't recall the exact name, but it was actually pretty darn good. And I love Tron. I love Tron the movie. I like the second Tron, and I like Tron the game. Great game. I own that game. And so they made this other game of it, and it was actually pretty good. And plus, I like the other Trons with like Television; they were good too. So I'm going to say that one. I'm going to say that Tron for the Xbox was a really good reboot of the Tron series.
I actually have a real answer. Pac-Man Championship Edition DX2. That is my favorite.
Yes.
That game ruled.
That Pac-Man Championship Edition is really good. Oh, another one is when they rebooted Wings, the PC version. That was great. They did a great job on that. Yeah.
L. Curtis Boyle asks, what's the first game that you ever played in an arcade, on a home game console, and on a home computer?
I mean, it has to be on one of all three?
Yeah, so what's your first on the arcade, first on the home game console, first on a home computer?
First in the arcade, it's either Space Invaders or Shootout / Outlaw. You know the one I'm talking about? Yeah. Where you cowboy game. I don't know. I don't remember exactly which one I saw first. The first game on a console, Pong. There's no doubt about that because that was all there was. And what was the third one?
On a home computer.
Home computer. Well, the first home computer I ever played on would have been in the Coco. And so the first game I ever put in the Coco was probably something like, oh boy, probably something like Poltergeist or what's that game? Canyon Climber. I think it was one of those two. Probably it's the first games I put in the Coco. So there you go. What do you got?
In an arcade, I really have no memories of playing arcade games when I was younger. I mean, it could be any. I can tell you that my early arcade memories are A, playing Miss Pac-Man in the Pizza Hut in Hurricane, B, playing RoboCop and or Gauntlet at the skate arena, or Galaxian, because that was there too. They always had them like cat-a-corner from each other. And then C, playing Stun Runner when I was in like either 8th or 9th grade. So, I mean, like those are 3 early arcade memories that I have. I'm sure that I played other stuff. Stuff too, but I don't remember. Maybe pole position at Pipestem. Do you ever?
Let's talk about Stun Runner. How great was
awesome
that game? You sit down in that thing, and it is. I mean, it's good luck, and it folds you, and it's just awesome. I love Stun Runner, and it didn't get a great bunch of home ports because it was tough to pull off.
It's tough to pull off.
But man, when you got the environmental of that, it's awesome, Boat. I love that game, man. So that's a great. If that was the first game you played, good God.
I mean, I'm almost certain that that's not the first game that I played, but that's definitely an early memory. And then on a home game console is definitely Pac-Man on the Atari 2600. My next door neighbor had one when I was very young. And then on a home computer, probably Space Invaders on the 1200 XL. So,
wow,
yeah,
really amazing. Listen, you were in the arcades after they had been established.
They were dying.
And so, when I was there, you had Space Invaders, you had Shootout / Outlaw / Cowboy, whatever it was. There wasn't much else. That was pretty much it. So I happened to be just like Pong. There was no other choices. You're playing Pong. That's it. So for you, at least you got some choices as to what you played. Yeah.
Brutal Bear. Oh, and I'll tell you another thing that's different between you and I probably is that I played, obviously for years and years and years, I was playing on home systems before I even walked into an arcade.
Right. See, there were no home systems when I was there. Yeah.
Brutal Barracuda asks, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Hell yes. Hell yes. In fact, I may have that for dinner tonight. That sounds like a great idea.
I'm with you. Graham Vebke asks, if you had to be on a reality TV show, which one would you choose?
Well, probably, I had to be on there, did I? My gut tells me Ultimate Fighter, just because it'd be cool to see all the fighters, but then I would get murdered. So that is.
What about the one about the lady wrestlers?
What's it
called?
I
don't know. It's like it's on the network.
I don't know what you're talking about there. Oh,
yeah, Total Divas.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I couldn't contain my hate on that show, and I like a lot of those divas, but they're all hot. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the worst choice. I thought you would go there. Now think about it. I guess I would pick Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because I would want to be on that show, and you wouldn't know I was there, right? And then you would see me creep out from behind like a bureau with a folding steel chair, and I would bonk every Kardashian I saw. I would bonk with this chair. It would be like Kardashian croquet boat. I would drop the hammer like Thor. So just to do the world a favor, I would smash these Kardashians boat. That's would be my choice. And by the way, give Bruce Jenner one too. Everybody gets one.
Okay. For me, it would be the one with Ozzy. What was his show?
Yeah, the Osborne family.
Just because it would be cool hanging out with Ozzy.
You remember how cool Oz? You know, when I was a kid, I remember earlier I don't know if I can't recall when this came up. We were talking about people doing graffiti, and everyone back when I was a kid, the graffiti was just Ozzy's name.
Really?
It was everywhere.
Just write Ozzy?
You remember? Yeah, on bridges, on like walls.
Weird.
Ozzy. That's all it was. Like that was the thing. You know. So think about it. Ozzy went from that to like this doddering idiot who everyone makes fun of for being a moron. You know, it's kind of sad.
I love it. How many bones have you broken?
No bones. I've never broken a bone. No,
I've
not
broken
one time.
my hand before. Yeah,
really?
I
happened?
Punched a wall in a fit of rage.
You're
no.
What were you so mad about, bro?
This was probably 2004.
You broke your own hand?
And I was working at Apple in Clarendon, in Arlington.
Yeah. That explains
it. My ex-fiance was also working there. And she
was she your ex at the time?
And she walked in with her new guy. And she was showing him off.
That's a deep cut, boat.
And so I went into the back room because I was working in the back of the house at the time. And I just hit that wall as hard as I could.
You were heartbroken.
And then as soon as I did it, I was like, man, what a monumentally stupid thing to have done. Because my hand swelled up to like a club. My hand became like a club. Did I go to the hospital? No. I went across the street to the Italian restaurant. I got some food. And then I noticed my hand was starting to hurt real bad. And then I went to the hospital, and then I was in a cast. And it was no good.
You know, normally I wouldn't associate you with a bunch of rage. But when it comes to the ladies, right, they could get you in a tizzy. You know, my buddy, the Bees, and that's all he needs to be called on here, he had a real anger problem. And I remember one time, he came into my house and he got mad about something and he punched I was out at my mom's house. He punched one of these folding closet doors so hard that it came off the hinges. You know, he punched the crap. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, I've got to put that door back on. You know, and so effectively, this was the end of my rage because I'm too lazy and cheap to go crazy because I watch other people, let's just say, throw stuff and wreck stuff, and inevitably I've got to be the guy that cleans this crap up like the doofus. So it made me not get so mad to where I wreck my own stuff because I'm cheap, and not be so mad that I wreck stuff because I don't want to clean it up because I'm lazy. So those elements will help you be less rage-filled.
I will say that since then I have not broken any bones. I've been very lucky.
You've got a great woman. She digs you, you know, and so it all worked out. You know, plus you got to wait for my apple.
It's a double win.
Said.
Graham also asked, why do you think grape flavor does not taste or smell anything like real grapes?
I don't think you could recreate the flavorful bouquet of taste that a grape offers. That said, I think artificial grape flavoring in its own way is a fulfilling taste. It's not so much fruit-filled, but it's a lovely tangy taste that you enjoy. I like artificial grape flavoring and partake in it on occasion, particularly like a grape knee.
Well, I would like to call your attention to something here on the screen here. This is Alexander the Grape. Are you familiar with him?
I'm not.
Well, Alexander the Grape is a cousin to our friend Lemonhead.
Okay, yeah, I know him.
So Alexander the Grape, I feel like, was sort of he set the standard for what artificial grape should taste like, probably back in the 60s.
Yeah.
And
really?
And ever since then, he was the harbinger, he was the forerunner of today's modern grape flavor.
Where did you come
I
up
used
with
to
that?
buy lots of Alexander the Grapes at Skate Arena.
Is this thing still
It's hard to
around?
know. It's hard to know about the current whereabouts of Alexander the Grape.
Because I would rather have that than the lemon.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying,
it's
by
definitely
far.
if you're in for the tang, but not in for like the puckering sourness of the lemon head, then I
Yeah.
would go with Alexander the Grape because it's the same size, it's the same mouthfeel.
If I could find that mouth
Mhm.
feel, what the hell is that?
Mouthfeel. It's a word. It's a word we use.
Yeah.
Listen,
What does
when
that
you're
mean?
involved in the food industry like I am, and by the food industry I mean the business, that's what you say.
Yeah.
Umami.
What? How are you involved in the food
Have you
industry?
seen my gut
exactly?
lately?
Bam! You win, Boat.
Graham also asks, you have access to a single-use magic button that can make just one
What?
person disappear for any period of time. Who gets it and why? Boy, I know who this
Oh
might be.
man, that's a controversial that's a controversial button. I may defer to you on that one, Boat.
You know that I've got to be honest with you. In my life, there are really no people that I can't stand that much. So, and I feel like if there were those people, I would not want to name them live on the air.
So is this current times or like throughout history?
This is up
we're
to you,
talking
man.
about?
It's whatever you want it to be.
Let's say it's throughout history, and I'll pick Hitler.
I
How's
think
that?
you
Bam,
win.
Hitler.
You win.
There you go. There you
Rushi
go.
asks, "Do you like Banksy? And if so, what would you say is his favorite or your favorite piece of his art?"
Is it Banksy, one of our Discord members?
Yes, Banksy's one of. He's
He is,
been a
right?
long-time supporter of Amigos. Do you know who Banksy is?
I don't know. He's a
Right.
graffiti artist.
So you do know who he is.
I do. In terms of his art, I can't pick out one piece. They're all so glorious. Why don't you? I'll defer to your
I
brilliance.
like the
Bo.
one where he set it up so when they bid on it for like $1 million and it sold, it immediately shredded itself.
Really, he did
Yeah.
that, did he?
He's real.
That is
Yeah.
boss.
He's one of these guys that he's just like everybody else. You know, it's like you start out all edgy and cool, and then everybody's buying your books at Urban Outfitters or whatever. And so,
What do you mean? Everyone's like that?
listen, man, Monet, Michelangelo.
Are people shredding? Are people shredding our T-shirts somewhere? Is that what's happening? I don't know. Give me a break.
Yeah, Banksy, he's all right. You know, I'm neither here nor there. There's definitely art that I like more than Banksy, and there's art that I like less than Banksy. Here's a question
All right.
for you, Aaron. Do you put honey in your green tea?
I don't drink green tea or honey, so no
Okay.
and no. I don't like tea, and I'm not a big fan of honey. I like the honey.
My answer is yes. I drink green tea from time to time, and I do put honey in it, especially if it's matcha green tea, which is hella horrible when you don't put anything in it.
I don't know how people drink tea. You know, they stop stuff for tea time. I can't get.
Well,
that
you don't
food.
like
I'll be honest
coffee
with you.
either,
I just-
right? You don't
I don't
like
like what now?
coffee either, right? Yeah,
I
so
don't.
you're just
I
sort
don't
of
like
like
coffee,
anti-hot drink.
What is tea always hot?
Most of the time, I mean, it is everywhere except for
about
America.
iced tea?
Iced tea is an American thing.
They don't have iced tea
No,
over in the
nobody
UK.
drinks iced tea.
You're
No.
kidding me.
Do you know why iced tea was invented? It's because
Okay.
everybody in the South was freaking hot all the time. Nobody gets freaking hot all the time
That's
in
true.
the UK.
Okay, fair enough. Good
Pixels
point.
of
Bo.
Dawn asks, what retro game do you actively dislike that is generally loved by fans?
I'm going to say Castlevania, Bo.
Okay.
I don't get this. I would say The Legend of
Mhm.
Zelda, but there is some semblance of that I can understand because I did play the further iterations of it. You know, like the with Ocarina and Time with the N64 ones. I had a pretty good time playing with those. You know, I thought a total goof. But the Castlevania series, people love this series, and I don't see how it's that great. I mean, on the NES, there's tons of great NES games, and I just don't see this as like a top tier game. But people love it. Now, that much said, it's not like I was great at it. It's not like I was getting far into the game to see all the awesome content. So I'm not going to sit here and say that my word is law. But to me, I just didn't get it. There's plenty of other games that I wonder why people like them, but they're games I haven't tried, you know, because they're not my bag, like RPGs, Japanese RPGs and stuff. So, and I know some people like them, but a game like Castlevania is my bag. All right, it's jump around, hit stuff with the whip, that sort of thing. It's sort of my bag, action adventure game. I just never thought it was that
Mhm.
great. So that's the one that comes to my mind now. And the Amiga version is
Yeah.
absolute garbage. We can all
I'll
agree on
I'll
that.
agree with you that I think Castlevania is rather overrated. I would say there's a ton of NES games that I think are people love that I think are overrated. Um, but I mean I've got to go back to the Amiga because like the Amiga like it's literally like the top 10 if you look at any like magazine's top 10 Amiga games of all time, they're all I hate them all. Like, okay, Super Frog. It's not good. It's not a good game. Shadow of the Beast. It's the worst. It's the dirt worst. Cannon Fodder. Who can get past the second level? Nobody.
Wait a minute, Cannon
Yeah.
Fodder?
It's
What?
not that good.
Cannon Fodder's
No,
awesome.
everybody says it's awesome,
What?
but it's really not. Nobody's sitting down playing Cannon Fodder. Everybody gets to the same point where they can't go on.
I got past that. I got way past the second level. I
Let's
like
see.
Cannon Fodder, man. Now that I don't
Let's
agree
see.
with you on that. That's you're on your own, pal. On that one.
Settlers. That's a game that tons of European people love that I can't stand. I can't even stand to look at those guys. Freaking losers. Not the European guys. I'm talking about the actual settlers themselves. They don't look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Yeah, but I would agree with you. Castlevania, I think, is highly overrated. I think the first Legend of Zelda, actually the first two Legend of Zelda games are overrated.
See, I don't get those. I'm glad you said that because like normally, if I mention those, they get murdered. But I mean, everybody talks about how brilliant
No.
they are. There are plenty of Nintendo games that are just like that. Just go around whacking shit. I know people love them. They're
Yeah.
not my bag.
I would say
there's a lot of good NES games.
It's the opposite of Mario, where like Super Mario Brothers, like the original, is legitimately a great game. The first, like Zelda, really didn't hit its stride until the Super Nintendo. But yeah, I mean, I would say most games. I have a natural inclination to hate what is popular because, like, I'm one of those guys that's like too cool for school.
Cool guy.
I freely admit that. But
I like what's popular usually because it's usually good. All the Marios are good. Hey, Metroid, I could understand the feel of that. Mega Man, good, those games I could understand the feel of those. I mean, if they've got an appeal, I played them. Even when Brent had NES and it wasn't my bag, I played all those games. They were fun games. The Mario Kart. I'm not a huge fan, but I'll tell you another one I didn't like was F-Zero, and everyone seems to love that one. I never liked that.
Way overrated. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and you're an NES guy, so I can. When you say that, I feel better because normally I would just get hammered, because you don't like F-Zero, you're garbage. I don't like it. Mario Kart's
I feel that way
better,
about. I feel that way about ActRaiser too. Did you ever play ActRaiser for the Super Nintendo?
I know of.
It's one of these games that people just fawn over like crazy, and I don't think that's great.
Yeah, I agree.
Frodo and L asks, "What's the weirdest game you've ever played?"
Weirdest game I've ever played. I will say Top Banana comes to mind because that was a weird game, especially if you consider the backstory, the fact that there was the proceeds were part, it was an environmentally safe game, all that weird stuff. That always struck me as that's just a weird game. There's a game called Purple Saturn Day. I always thought that was a weird game.
What's that for?
It's sort of like it's PC. I don't know if the Amiga got a port, but a PC got it. A bunch of places got it. I think FM Towns. It's a game where it's sort of like a space Olympics game, but it was really just a goofy game that I always thought was strange. There's a game called Weird Dreams that lives up to its name. That's another weird one. Katamari Damacy's a weird game. It's fun, but it's weird. The music's weird. The dialogue's weird. The characters are weird. So those spring to mind.
To me, it's got to be Top Banana. Top Banana, hands down, is the weirdest game that I've ever played. Just everything about it, it's like they thought to themselves, what can we do to make this even less appealing? And they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all weird. And we could probably think of a million more, but those are just the ones that spring to mind instantly.
Yeah. What's your favorite game based on a cartoon or comic?
Well, I would definitely go comic. I would say because the cartoon basically is generally crap. Although I will say the 16-bit Batman the animated series games were pretty good.
I agree with
thought.
you. Like I
Um,
disagree with you about the cartoon games being crap. Like my favorite cartoon game is definitely. Did you ever play Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers on the NES? That game's
No, but I
great.
didn't like that cartoon. I mean, it may be great, but I never played it. So I mean, I can only tell you
And
what I
not to mention that,
played.
but DuckTales on the NES is great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would probably say my favorite comic related because I'm sure it would be comic. The funny thing is, comic is it's such an open ended because comic related could be anything. If I'm going to pick one, I would say probably Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which takes place during the I believe that's the one that takes place during the Onslaught story arc. I can't remember for sure, but I like all the characters in it. The comic. I like all the Marvel fighting games, all the old ones. So I would probably put those in there. Although I will say X-Men was really good. The Konami, where you fight
It's
guys
the
and you
beat
get to
'em
pick all
up.
the different characters.
Hmm.
That's right. Yeah, I thought that was fun. Those comic book characters do well in those, but to come up with a specific comic, I can't think of when it comes from a specific comic series. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I had to go with an animated series. Gosh, it's go ahead and give me one, but
Well,
what I think
there were
here.
a ton for the Nintendo. Like I said, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is one of my favorite games of all time. DuckTales for the NES is a classic, like a legitimate classic game. Um,
That Mickey game for the
yeah,
Genesis
the
is
like
really
Castle
good.
of Illusion. Oh, not to mention like Aladdin. Aladdin's a great game.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the Disney games were fun. I would probably say, God, that is tough. I mean, I can't think of anything above what you said. Maybe something will come to
Okay.
me, but those
And
are
the
all good
final
choices.
question of this edition of Ask the Amigos, Aaron, comes to us from Brutal Barracuda. And he says, hottest WWE diva, past or present?
Wow, there have been some very, very attractive divas over the years. I have to ponder this for a moment. Um, Boy, do you have a thought
I
on
could
this,
not
Bo?
name
You
one.
don't know
I
all
couldn't
of them.
name one.
You can't name any of the
I
girl
mean,
wrestlers from the
yeah,
past or present.
like
You know
there
some
was
of them,
that.
surely, like
Yeah,
China
like
or
China.
something.
Yeah, I could name like the old, but like I wouldn't call those people attractive. They're hideous.
It's funny because there's a chick there that wrestled there called Paige. She was
Oh
British,
yeah, I've
and
heard of her.
she's been forced to retire. When she first came out, she's sort of this like a gothy looking
Hmm.
lady, and I always thought she was super super sexy. But she did some stuff that was she did these when her movie came out. She did these like a lot. She did these little promos for the movie, and she just looked
Mm.
horrible. So every time I think of her now, I think of these horrible promos she did for this god awful movie. So I'm going to go and say a girl that keeps coming to mind that I always thought was really a hot chick was Victoria, and plus, I'm a sad person, but as a wrestling fan because I can't just pick out the hottest chick. I've got to have a girl that's also hot and can also
Hmm.
go in
Right.
the ring. So if I had to pick chicks, it would be Gail Kim would be in the top couple. She was an excellent wrestler and she's very attractive. And I would say Victoria would be up there. Also very attractive and can go. You've got to be able
What
to go
about?
in the ring. It
I
doesn't.
know. Like, what about the Bellas, or is it? Are there multiple Bellas?
The Bellas can't go. The Bella
Okay,
twins can't go in the
but you
ring.
got to
That's the
be proud of me
problem
for
with those
knowing
chicks.
that, though.
That is good. I
What about
can't
who? Who
get
was
behind
the
a
Who was Macho's
Tr-
lady? Yeah.
Elizabeth. She never
Uh,
wrestled. Trish Stratus. Bruno Bear could have mentioned Trish Stratus. A great choice. She was horrible when she started, but she actually got way better. And at the end, she was sort of a legend. Lita. She was super hot. But she was a okay worker. But I saw her kill herself so many times that it's hard. She would fall on her head, so it's hard for me to get behind her. So I'm gonna go with who I
all
said.
right, and that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Ask the Amigos. Thank you to all of our Discord members for writing in, and we will be back next month with another episode of this wacky show. So we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Adios.